So my research field, I'm working on the condensed matter physics. So I'm studying different quantum, we call this quantum matters, where you have some sample exhibiting some funny quantum features such as superconductivity. You can have also quantum spin liquids, you can have also wide semimetals, etc. So this is my research topic, research field.
So the main work you did is to create the material or to measure its characteristics.
For me, I'm not, I'm not growing samples. I need some collaborators who can grow some samples. Hopefully here we have Dan Feng Li, Dr. Dan Feng Li, he can grow some matter. And me, I measure the so-called infrared spectroscopy. And through the infrared reflectivity. So typically me, you can send some photons at different energies, and you see how the sample reflect back photons. Yeah. And like that, you can measure the reflectivity. And through the reflectivity, you can get crucial information on how electrons behave in this kind of materials. So yeah, I started during my PhD with the cuprate, high TC superconductors, because I was kind of fascinated by, this levitating train. Yeah, you have some superconducting puck, you can cool down with some liquid nitrogen. Yeah. And I was fascinated by this phenomenon. And I say, okay, I would like to understand this phenomenon. It's why after I was passionate by this superconductors. Yeah. And if you go inside the details, you see it's not easy to answer the question, why the TC is so high in high TC superconductors. And if you go more in the details, you see there is some intriguing quantum phenomena such as quantum criticality. So this was my Nature paper in 2019. Yeah. We observed that electrons at the vicinity of the so-called critical point, there is some, the electrons, they have a very strange behavior. Yeah. So for example, their mass, so electrons, they have a mass. And at this quantum critical point, they become very, very heavy as you cool down the temperature. So this is an intriguing phenomena. And after I continued this study through the infrared spectroscopy, and we are writing a paper on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mean there is a phase transition?
Yeah, there is a phase transition. So for a phase transition, you need some fluctuations, between the ordered phase and the disordered phase. You need some fluctuation, some bubbles, to go through the transition. But because this transition is at 0 Kelvin, and these fluctuations are from thermal fluctuations. So 0 Kelvin, you cannot have a phase transition at 0 Kelvin classically. Yeah. So it's why we say quantum phase transition, because these fluctuations are from the quantum fluctuations of the disordered phase inside the ordered phase and vice versa. And it's why you can have some fancy behavior at this point, at the transition.
Yeah. So after the phase transition, the electrons have create some pairs. There's some pairing.
Yeah, so this is very strange because so this is the so-called normal state when you remove superconductivity. But the superconductivity grows exactly where you have this fancy phase transition. So apparently superconductivity likes to stay in this ground state. Yeah. And if you go, so you have a superconducting dome, and the superconducting dome is sitting exactly where the maximum is located, around where you have this quantum phase transition. if you go further in doping, so you will have a very good metal, but it's a bit contradictory. You lose superconductivity. You know, for superconductivity, for classical superconductors, it's good to have a good metal. But here, if you have a good metal, if you reach this very good metal range, you lose superconductivity.
Yeah,
it's quite interesting.
Yeah, so maybe the high TC superconductivity is in the insulated regime.
So it's not completely insulating. You lose carriers. Yeah. So it's interesting because you have two parts of the dome. You have the dome sitting inside the ordered phase. There is still some carriers, yeah, but less carriers. So it's why the dome is depleting. So it's why you decrease the TC, because you have more and more carriers for the insulating state. But not completely insulating, but you lose more and more carriers. But something a bit strange is for the right side, when you go to the disordered phase, to the metallic range, you lose also TC, but this is not well understood yet. Yeah. And apparently it's because superconductivity use these quantum fluctuations from the quantum transition to pairs with some, you know, we not yet understand what is the glue between the electrons, you know, to create Cooper pairs in cuprates.
Yeah.
But apparently it's not from phonons. Yeah. It's from something other, maybe from these quantum fluctuations. Yeah. It's why we are very excited on this topic, even if it's an old topic, you know, cuprates, it's it started from 1986. Yeah. It was during an open door of labs in France, yeah, in Grenoble. You have the Institut Néel, and I went there just because I love I'm child. I love, you know, to answer the question why of everything. And at that time, I saw the train levitating. You know, it's a very crazy property. You say, what? It's like, I don't know if you know this movie, Back to the Future, with the overboard. And you say, you know, it's confusing for your mind. And you say, oh, it's possible. And after, of course, you start to, because of the why, you want to answer the why. And after, okay, I'm doing research on superconductors. I chose to do a co-supervised PhD. So between one lab in France and one lab in Canada. Yeah. So it was quite tough because you need to go to visit, to go to different labs. So you need to change the life every time, every 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But it was a very great experience because you enjoy different, you know, the structure of the group in France and in Canada is quite different. Also the mentality of people, and also so this is in terms of, I would say, the cultural aspect. The cultural aspect of how to grow a group also, and also about the physical physics in research. So you have different techniques, one expertise in Grenoble in France and one in Canada in Sherbrooke, and you learn these two techniques, so that's very nice. So from my experience, I encourage other students to do the same. But you should be careful with these two supervisors, co-supervisors. They should find a common top project. Otherwise, it could be a bit difficult. So me, I was lucky. I found common projects, and it was very. So also in terms of networking, it increases a lot of things in this sense also. So this experience, so. It was a short PhD with a lot of things, but very nice. You know, in France, it's only three years PhD.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's very surprising.
You start at this date and you finish exactly 3 years after. It's quite you need to rush a bit, yeah. And I added on top of that this collaboration. So it's not collaboration, it's a co-supervision. So you are registered in both universities also, it means, yeah.
You got 2 degrees.
So I have two, yeah, I have 2 diplomas at the end, yeah. Yeah, but it's written on each diploma in collaboration and co-supervision with this place. So if you find, but I know it's not easy to find. You need to find someone who has very good network with some very good collaborators who are both interested to take a PhD in co-supervision. But for faculties, it's very good also, because you know the student in co-supervision is the link between these 2 labs. Yeah. You are doing like not diplomacy, but you understand the connection, yeah. Because at that time you go to this lab, you get some expertise from this lab, you go back to another lab, you get this experience, and finally you will have a global view on these 2 techniques here.
Exactly.
And this, of course, your 2 supervisors, they don't know their common expertise, and so it's very positive for each people, the student and the supervisors. So I will try to think and speak with my collaborators here. Maybe we can find also some co-supervision. But for sure, a golden rule, important. They should speak enough and decide enough to have a common project. No, it could be a bit difficult, I guess. Because now we are, the world is focused on this quantum transition, because we would like to find the glue of Cooper pairs here. And I think this is my feeling. It's from this behavior. Why the superconducting dome is sitting here, of course, because it's using, this is my feeling, it's using some quantum fluctuations of the ordered phase. So because you have, we know at the low doping, you have an antiferrometric order. So it's trying to pair electrons with the spin, yeah, you know, and maybe superconductivity uses these fluctuations to pair them. And it's why also it explains you why if you go to very high doping, so very good metal, you lose superconductivity. And this is peculiar because you lose superconductivity exactly where you lose quantum fluctuations also at high doping. So we know there is a link here now. Yeah, that we would like to understand. Now I think it's we are on the good way. It's because it's an old topic. I know your question.
Yeah. So what is the main challenge now facing this field?
So I think the challenge is it's an old topic first. So a lot of people lose courage and say, okay, it's too complicated. It's like a big puzzle, you know, you try to solve and after, okay, I cannot solve, okay, I stop here. So this is the big challenge. It's a big puzzle. So you can lose courage on solving that. But now, because the techniques, you know, this is due in parallel to the improvement of experimental techniques, we can understand more and more things inside this material. So in parallel to the development of the techniques, you have the development of theories to trying to understand also together. And for example, we are writing a paper, a co-paper with experimentalists, so me and my previous boss in Geneva, and some theorists, yeah. And we can understand with the same models, 3 physical experimental properties, so resistivity, specificity, and infrared spectroscopy. Yeah. So, and after, so this is, okay, now it's a solid proof you have quantum fluctuations. And the next step is from where are these quantum fluctuations? and how with this quantum fluctuation we can create Cooper pairs. So this is the work for theorists now. So maybe they will find model, okay, and now we know there is quantum fluctuations there from this order. So maybe now we can find a model and we can, maybe they will plot after a phase diagram TC versus Hall doping and okay, describe the dome. And, it's a work between, so we have three important people in research in condensed matter physics. You have crystal growers, because you should have very good crystal quality. You have experimentalists like myself, who try to take this piece of sample and do some measurements. You can have resistivity, specific heat, infrared spectroscopy, RPS, etc. And after you have the theorists who is trying to model the physics and explain the experiments. So sometimes we are a bit disconnected. So theorists, they are making a very, very complicated model, but who can explain whatever you want in the, maybe it's not the reality. So it's why you need to have some interaction between these three main, parts. Crystal growers. So after the experimentalists can tell crystal growers, I don't know, this sample is a bit, there is defects or whatever, because I have some indication. So you need to discuss between these three parts. Otherwise, we will be completely disconnected and we will not improve the research quality. So that's, but it's like experimental data, you get some data experimentally.
Yeah.
And the first reaction you have is, when it's something strange, you say, no, maybe there is something wrong during the measurement or what, because there is noise, because the parameters were not good or whatever. And after you need to filter a bit with your mind, okay, it's some condition, okay, maybe it was from noise. No, you can check it's not from this, not from this. You compare with another sample. So for example, the quantum fluctuations, I started to measure at this point, and I see some crazy features. I say, no, the sample has something wrong, or maybe my measurement was not good. And after you need to compare with a sample, a normal sample, I would say. And after you say, hey, by comparison, there is effectively, it's not from the measurement, it's from the sample. So you need to, you are working in the unknown region, in the darkness. You are completely blind. You are touching something, you don't know what's that, because it's new, We are trying to push the border of knowledge. So sometimes research, we are blind. We are trying to. We have some indication, okay, maybe this way is good. Sometimes it's at the end, it's not good. So it's okay, it's like that. It's interesting. It's exciting, but sometimes it can be also disappointing because you went to the wrong way. But it's okay, you should still continue and that research. It's like people mining gold, in cave. You don't know where is the gold, but you need to mine. You need to have some intuition. In physics, it's still important because you need to compare with other compounds or what. There is some small intuition you can have. Sometimes it's a wrong intuition, sometimes a good one. So it's research.